This is where I really struggled. Look at that. What is happening there? I have no idea. Also, why is she like yellow? Does she look like the photo? Not really. She kind of looks like a different child. Mind you, I'm used to my portraits looking like different people to the reference. Normally, I'm just happy with my person actually looking like a human being, but when I take a perfectly attractive person and turn them into an uggo, then it's just something ain't right. Hello everyone, Julie here. Long time no see. Today I am in the mood to paint portraits, and this was the last set of portraits that I painted, and I really love this page. I feel like this was the first time where portrait painting actually started to feel intuitive and it was demystified for me. So it was a very exciting time, and then I took a very long break. And then I tried to paint again and I struggled. I wasn't able to recreate any of these portraits. Not in terms of getting like the skin tones right or placing down colors the right way. It was just very confusing. So I took a break from painting and I ended up just sketching out a bunch of Pinterest faces. And this is all part of me accomplishing the 100 heads challenge. So I have a bunch of heads ready to paint. I just gotta paint them. These are some more recent portraits. I feel like the shadows look a bit awkward. Her colors are a bit splotchy. She is way too orange. And this one I actually followed a YouTube tutorial. That's why it looks really good. By Liz Chatterton. Oh, I forget. I'm gonna put it up on the screen. But yeah, this was a great tutorial. And then in here, let me move all of this. This is an art mystery box, by the way. That video is in progress and it's been for months. So this is my little box of shame. In here, I have some old paints. These are handmade paints, and I'll link the video down below where I made them, but they kind of just sit in here. This is where I really struggled. Look at that. What is happening there? I have no idea. Also, why is she like yellow? This one turned out a little bit better, but she looked nothing like the photo. I do like how her skin tone turned out because the reference photo was out in the sun, so it was very golden. So I feel like the skin tone's nice, but I don't know, her face just looks strange. What happened here? Okay, what happened? I'm so sorry to this person. I feel like I totally butchered their face. I think there are elements of some of these that are all right, but for the most part, when you step back and look at it as like a whole painting, it just does not look good. Like, what happened? What happened? No! So yeah, these are my portraits of shame, and out of all of these, there were only 3 that I liked enough to put on my wall. I'm struggling, guys. I'm struggling. I have no idea how these portraits are gonna turn out. I think like the previous page here, each row I'm gonna focus on different techniques, and we'll see how it goes. So for the first row here, I am following a tutorial by Jane Beta. I hope I'm saying that right. And it's a very expressive style of painting, but she also breaks down her technique, and that's the technique I'm gonna follow. So I'm just gonna paint layer by layer, work with 3 colors per portrait, and I'm gonna try to follow her style of painting, and hopefully it goes well. And if it doesn't, I mean, you can see how amazing this portrait turned out. So if it doesn't, please don't think her tutorial, there was anything wrong with her tutorial. It's all in the artist, aka me. If it doesn't work out, I messed up, okay? Hello. Welcome to the Lazy Girls 100 Heads Challenge. My name is Julie, and I make art-related videos like this one, and that one over there. Yep, I decided to take on this quest while simultaneously stripping away the component that actually makes it a challenge, which is completing 100 portraits in whatever medium of your choosing in just 10 days. The original challenge was coined by artist Ahmed Al-Douri. I'll link his original video explaining the challenge down below, along with his curated Pinterest board of reference photos. I, on the other hand, have decided to give myself an entire year to get through all of these heads. Yep, I took a 10-day challenge and turned it into a year-long conquest, as one does. Honestly, I didn't properly take notes of the rules for this challenge until after filming my first video on the topic. By then, I decided to just roll with the punches. I lost it. I feel like I had it partway through and I just lost it. And then I panicked and this is the result. Oh, Lord. Yep, I lost it. Whatever touch I had temporarily is now gone. So this is the next reference photo. I think I'm gonna change tactics. It's hard for me to start laying color down. It's hard for me to trust the process entirely. I think I need to see my shadows. I need to see a piece have structure before I start putting paint on it. I think that's the best approach for me. And that is the approach I took with these ones here. I really just started with the shadows with an underpainting. And then this one as well. I started off by doing the wet on wet technique and dropping in random colors. I wanted like some really interesting colors to come through. After that, I'm pretty sure I went straight in with the shadows. So I think shadows have to be at an earlier stage. And I'm so unhappy with this. And maybe it was partially my color choices too. I'm gonna just put a little sticky there. There. Okay. Let's not pay attention to that for now. Tell me I'm not the only one who hears 100 heads challenge and naturally assumes that it's a portrait a day sort of deal. Tell me I'm not the only one, please. The reason why I'm doing this is to ultimately demystify the act of painting skin tones. It's always been something that confuses and frustrates me. I have trouble seeing the blues, purples, yellows, and greens in skin. I also lack the focus of sticking to a single subject. So I'm planning to paint portraits, and solely portraits, until I'm generally less confused about the process. And then from there, I'll give myself the option of moving on to something else. Just like the last video, which still stands as my favorite ever sketchbook spread of all time, in terms of my own sketchbook spreads, okay? I used a different technique per row of heads. So in this video, for the first and last rows, I tried to embody Jane Betta, the first being more technical and the last being more expressive. And for the row in between, I incorporated methods from Christy Patridge Art, and I'll link all of the videos I referred to down below. Okay, I've decided I'm gonna do this little thing, whatever it is. It's just sticking out. It's just sticking out straight up like that. Okay, I'm actually pretty happy with how this turned out. Definitely better than the last one. So we're getting somewhere. I mean, the whole point of the challenge is to practice drawing and painting heads. But my personal mission is to, once again, demystify the art of painting portraits with watercolor. I think the colors are a bit splotchy, especially if you look closely. Actually, from the camera, it looks pretty good. But at the end of the day, I think when you zoom all the way out, you could tell it's a face. Does she look like the photo? Not really. She kind of looks like a different child. In here, she looks like a baby, but here she kind of looks like, I don't know, a couple years older. Also, her eyes are close together. Here they're further apart. So, but the point of this is to practice my skin tones. I'm not going for 100% accuracy. Maybe I'll get to that point eventually, but right now, one thing at a time, okay? I don't want to get overwhelmed. So before and after, so much better. For the first set of 3 portraits, I followed Jane Betta's tutorial that relies on just 3 colors and really breaks down the layering of watercolor, as in building every single layer and shifting colors both slightly and dramatically to create depth in skin tone. As you can see, the first portrait did not work out at all. It was a confused mess. Jade makes it look easy, okay? A lot of artists make portrait painting look easy, and I know it comes with years and years of experience, but this first one got me super discouraged, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I made the beautiful woman in the reference photo look diseased. That's truly the only way I could describe it. It was my first time painting a portrait after a long time, so I decidedly wrote it off as a warm-up practice version. Okay, I tried salvaging this off camera. I darkened the darks. I don't know if I'm gonna totally destroy this, but I'm gonna deepen some of the shadows. I'm a little nervous. Ah! Okay. Calm down. Calm down. Okay. The second portrait of the 3 turned out so much better. It was the confidence boost I needed. Rather than being so ambitious with my colors and wanting to bring out the yellows and purples, I started off with more grounded skin tone colors and just shifting the colors slightly to more vibrant versions of those shades. This was definitely the way to go, especially as someone who still struggles with color theory. I'm getting better, but it's still a struggle. So doing the whole Arlea Bean rainbow skin method, it just does not work for me right now. I need to work my way up there and not be so ambitious with my colors. The final of the 3 turned out a hot mess. I became overconfident and I tried painting without thinking so much. The end result was painting a blotchy portrait that did not do the handsome man in the reference photo any justice at all. In fact, it accomplished quite the opposite. Mind you, I'm used to my portraits looking like different people to the reference. Normally, I'm just happy with my person actually looking like a human being and skin actually looking like skin. So normally it does not bother me, but when I take a perfectly attractive person and turn them into an uggo, then it's just something ain't right. Yeah, I don't know. He's kind of looking like a mess. Still not as bad as this one here, but not as good as this one. I'll keep him uncovered. I feel like his skin is a little too dark and also too yellow. Yeah, I kind of messed up, but it's fine. Sorry, my friend. Oops. The next row, I'm gonna go on YouTube and I'm gonna try to find another tutorial that I can follow, at least partially. And hopefully it'll turn out better than this first row here. Yeah, from afar he looks a little odd. I don't like it. I don't like it. Maybe towards the end of the challenge, I'll take my worst portraits and I'll try redoing them. And maybe they'll be like my last 9, because it seems like I'm working in batches of 9. So maybe for my final 9, I'll take my least favorite portraits and try to redo them, try to do them justice, see how much I've improved or haven't improved. We'll see. The next set of portraits, however, are probably the most accurate I've ever painted. In following a tutorial by Christy Patridge Art, I focused on using very realistic colors and building up layers carefully and methodically. This set definitely took the most focus, and I really think it shows. I'm actually really happy with how they turned out, especially the painting on the left. Normally, I struggle with painting light skin tones. I always end up painting them a couple shades darker, but I really felt like I nailed both the values and the hues. The head in the middle also turned out really great. I was able to capture much cooler skin tones that were prevalent in the reference, and this is something that I have trouble with. I tend to paint 3 different types of skin: light, medium, and dark. And in each category, I normally rely on the same blend of colors. But in this case, I was able to paint 2 different fair skin tones, having one be warm and the other one be cool. And I'm really proud of this. I know it's a small win, but I'm really, really happy. Like, if that doesn't scream growth, I don't know what does. This technique also heavily relies on wet on wet. So it definitely tested my patience, and I was a bit concerned about the colors getting muddy since I was constantly going back over them with a wet paintbrush. Even though they were completely dry, I was worried about that because I'm not working with 100% cotton paper. This is my Canson mixed media sketchbook. And the reason why I like working with this paper is because it's very forgiving when it comes to watercolors. If you make a mistake, you can easily lift the colors off. And I know the point of watercolor is to have really good paper that soaks everything up so it doesn't lift and so you can layer beautifully. For me, as a novice, I really feel like this paper is perfect for portrait painting when it comes to the techniques and styles that I'm trying to play around with and my style of painting in general. So while I was worried about building up those layers and constantly re-wetting my paper, it actually turned out really great. I found that this technique really creates subtle gradients that give a much more realistic look to the changes in values of skin, especially when it comes to painting a softer light source. So this row definitely turned out a lot better than the last one. It's 8 p.m. here. It's still light out, but I probably only have an hour left of sun before it gets dark. And not gonna lie, I'm a little bit drunk off wine. I had a glass of wine with my dinner, so whew, I am feeling it. But it's perfect for the next tutorial that I'm following, or at least taking inspiration from, by Jane Bida. So this is a very loose style of painting. I don't really know how to describe it. She just put colors down intuitively, and I want to try that. And right now I'm feeling very loose, so hopefully these paintings will end up really loose, but like in a good way. And she starts off with a flat brush, so I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try painting with a flat brush and we'll see how it goes. So I'm gonna mix my colors off camera and then I'm gonna dive right into it. I really love how these paintings were turning out, but then the sun started setting, so I put my paints away and got back to them in the morning. As in the morning when I was not so tipsy, and I lost that intuitive and expressive touch. I tried hard to recapture it, but honestly, I think I was just too in my head. I definitely gave up at the end, especially when painting the bearded sailor. I really wish the sun stayed out for like 10 extra minutes, because I'm sure these would have turned out a lot better if I continued painting while in the flow of things rather than trying to recapture that. And maybe I should have done that, even if it was off camera. That's the thing about filming your art. Sometimes you unintentionally prioritize the camera rather than the work you're producing. Even though my camera isn't in the way when I film, I find that when I'm stuck on a painting or it's not turning out right, the first thing I do is turn off my camera and work on a piece for a bit without having the knowledge that I'm being filmed in the back of my mind. Even though it's subtle, it does have an impact on the way I create. And if any of you watching can relate, please let me know. Whether you post your art online or whether you're just creating for an audience in general through commissions, galleries, presents for friends. Does knowing that other people will see your work affect the way you paint? Because it definitely does for me. And I think it's that added pressure. So it's the next day and you could hear the birds in the background. I wanted to continue painting, but it was getting dark out, which you could probably tell by the change of lighting. So I hit pause and I'm going to go back into it today. Yeah, we're gonna keep that covered. I went over this guy and I tried to improve his skin tone. I think it looks a little bit better, but it still looks really bad. Though I think I'm gonna leave this uncovered. I'm actually pretty impressed with this row here. I feel like these are the most realistic skin tones that I painted in terms of trying to copy the reference photo. I was a little concerned about her at first because I thought I painted her skin too dark because she's very fair-skinned, but after darkening the eyebrows, the eyes, the hair, and her jacket, it actually worked really well. I know her eyes are a bit lopsided, but you know, that's fine. I'm just focused on the skin tone. And this too, in the reference photo, her skin is very cool toned and her nose and eyes are quite red, so I feel like I captured that very well. Here, I think I should have went darker. And I know, like for the lighter areas, it should have been a shade or two darker. And I know I could go back in and try to darken it, but I've made that mistake and it didn't go well. I made it on this first page here with her. See how splotchy she looks? And also with her. I ended up darkening the highlights a bit too much and now there's like a lack of value here. Oh, I just love this page. I love how I painted her skin and these guys here. Anyways, I am also proud of this page so far. It's just different styles of painting. Overall, the second row is definitely my favorite. I truly think the portraits turned out the best, technically speaking, but I also have a soft spot for the baby in the top middle. I like that the colors and brush strokes are more vibrant and expressive. The reason why I'm trying these different techniques is so I can eventually find a combination of style that works for me. And I know there's a way to combine my favorite parts of each of these styles. It just takes time and practice. Hence why I'm doing this challenge. Let me know what you think about these portraits, and also if you have any advice, or if you know of some great watercolor portrait tutorials. I would love to check out your recommendations. It would probably be more useful than mindlessly scrolling through YouTube for however long. So if there's a video that you found really helpful about painting portraits, please do share them down below. Okay, not loving this last row. I feel like I got my mojo back yesterday and then I lost it again today. I kind of gave up on him. From afar, he actually doesn't look too bad, but his hat looks super cartoony. I gave up. I had no idea what's going on here. She looks terrible. She looks terrible. She looks super splotchy, but you know, when you take a step back, I feel like her skin tone looks pretty good. And when you zoom in, you can see all the colors. I don't love this page like I did the last one. I think the star of the show is definitely this row here. So maybe there's something to the wet on wet technique. I think it would be cool to incorporate the wet on wet technique, but play with more colors. And hopefully I could come up with some kind of painting technique that combines the best parts of all of these in terms of what I personally am able to accomplish with my limited skills. I have a few pages that are just ready to paint. I think that's the last time, yeah. But anyways, that puts me at 18 heads, so 18 out of 100. Not too shabby. I also have some individual heads here, And this will be a bit of a separate series. This isn't part of my 100 heads challenge. I'm going to paint these and post them as shorts. I'm gonna call this my heartbreak head series, and you'll find out why eventually when I post these. I also went thrifting today and I picked up, I'll show you what I got. I picked up these here, Pentel Fabric Fun Pastel Die Sticks. I don't know if they're necessarily vintage, but the packaging does look a little bit older. And look, it comes with this piece of paper here. They're brand new. These are pastel die sticks. You can use them on fabric. So I thought that would be a cool thing to experiment with. But anyways, that is for another time. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. And until next time, stay creative. Peace.